Hey guys, how you doing? This is Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and this is a video that is going to be more of a grim one and more of a, I don't want to say end of the world scenario, but this is something that is probably going to make lots of people go off at me in the comments and stuff, so if you guys want to, I'd check that out. But today we're going to be talking about the leopard gecko market crash, kind of like the stock market crash. Now, some people might be laughing right now, and some people probably just left the video because they're thinking, you know, oh, this guy's, you know, full of it. He's gonna be sitting down here talking about. No, this is you know, more of a serious topic, and anybody that's interested in leopard geckos, I would hear me out and I would listen to my thoughts on this, just because, you know, it's good to get somebody else's perspective. And I've been working and talking to breeders for a while, and here's my opinion on the leopard gecko market. So, I actually recently went to a pet store. Or actually, I went to a bunch of pet stores across Ohio and Kentucky, and I have my numbers here. And we're going to be looking at not only, you know, just my thoughts on how this is going to happen or why this is going to happen, but the proof as well. Now, I don't think it's going to get as bad as a Knowles, because, you know, back in the day, a while ago, a Knowles actually used to be a pretty popular pet, and now they just are bred so much that their prices are low, and they're actually feeders to lots of people who have snakes that eat, you know, lizards or something. So, I hope you guys do hear me out, and we'll actually let her run around a little bit. I'm sorry for the messy cage, but this is how I keep leopard geckos, and they only get cleaned out once a week normally, but we'll be replacing the paper towel probably today since I pulled her out. But okay, so let's look at the prices of ball pythons from my suppliers and from pet shops over Ohio. And the market could be different in different places, but we're going to look at the general, you know, thing. So, leopard geckos, when leopard geckos first came out 2 years ago, they were priced at $59.99 at most pet stores, right? If I shake the camera a little bit, I'm looking over here at my little sheet I've got. So, about 2 years ago, leopard geckos were most of the time about 60 bucks, right, in pet stores. And fancy leopard geckos, you're looking at about 111 to 120 bucks for a fancy leopard gecko. Nowadays, from all the pet stores I've seen, took the average, which is basically the same in all the pet stores, is about $29.98 for a normal leopard gecko, from $60 to $30 in about 2 years. And then with the fancy leopard gecko, we went from over 100 to 40 bucks. And I'll talk about why I think this is, but now let's look at ball pythons. 6 years ago, normal ball pythons, 6 years ago, this is 6 years ago, normal ball pythons were selling for 70 to 80 bucks. Nowadays, they're selling for about 60 to 70 bucks. Not that much of a drop from 6 years. The other leopard geckos was 2 years. With the fancy ball pythons, 6 years ago, they were going for 250. Now they're down to 150, but that's the fancy, and that is mainly, when they say fancy, it's normally just a pastel ball python. Very rarely is it ever anything besides that. If it's anything of actual value, the breeders are just keeping them back and, you know, selling those guys on something like Morph Market. But as we can see, the ball python normal, at least, hasn't had too much of a drop. Now, the price drop for the fancy from $250 to $150 was due just to the pastel ball python, not the actual ball python market itself. The leopard geckos, on the other hand, have taken a really bad beating, in my opinion, from $119.99 to $39.98 for the fancy, and from 60 bucks to 30 bucks for the normals. It's not looking good for leopard geckos. Now, here's the reason that I'm going to say, in my opinion, the leopard gecko market is going to have a crash, basically, soon. In the next year or so. Maybe it won't be the next year or so, but I don't see too great of a future for leopard geckos. I'm going to tell you why. It's, in my opinion, there are two things that have led to leopard geckos being at such a big price drop that they are now. The first one is how cheap these guys actually are to produce. Okay, mealworms are way cheaper than rats or mice, which is what is needed to feed snakes, ball pythons, milk snakes, Kenyan sand boas, stuff like that. Leopard geckos eat mealworms. Mealworms are very easy to produce, very cheap to produce. I breed my own. I save so much money by doing that, okay? But they're very, very, very cheap to produce and breed. That's the first thing. These guys don't cost even close to a ball python to get up to size. Literally, you might spend $5 getting these guys up to size. When with a ball python, you're looking more about 15, 20, 25 bucks probably at the max to get them up to size. More about 15 versus 5. So these guys are very cheap to get to size. The second biggest thing that I've blamed for it that I really don't like the leopard geckos have is temperature sex determination. Now, this basically means that whatever temperature you put them in the eggs for is what sex they're going to come out as. And this might sound great for some of you guys out there, but might be going, oh, that's amazing, so I can just get, you know, a few clutches. I want all of them to be female because I want to keep some back. Just put them all to females. Yeah, that's great, but that right there is the thing that is making these guys' prices drop so drastically, in my opinion. When we're looking at ball pythons or Kenyan sand boas, what are the odds of a snake coming out, male or female? 50-50. But that wasn't really a question. This is just stating. The odds are about 50-50 of a male or female being coming out of the egg. From what I've seen, and I've talked to different breeders, it's just about 50-50. You can't determine it, though. It's random. So if you breed a clutch and you're hoping for a female, let's say you're hoping for a female Super Pastel, Super Mojave, or something ridiculous like that, and they all come out males, you just lost. You're going to have to wait till next season to get that, you know, animal, right? Or let's say you're breeding clowns and you want a bunch of het clown, or actually no, you want a bunch of het clown males, right? You breed them together, get all females. You gotta wait till next year. So it's a much longer process, which means the animals hold their value longer when they first come out. Not only to mention with the fact that leopard geckos literally take like a year or so to get to size, whereas ball pythons are going to take 3 to 4 years, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, to get to size. At least a decent size where they're at full production, right? Not, you know, laying 3 eggs and, you know, one of them is a slug at 2 years. Those are the biggest things that are making these guys drop. And the problem with temperature sex determination, I know this is probably going to be a big thing for you guys, that I don't like this, but the problem is it really screws the market up, in my opinion. When we look at, you know, temperature sex determination as a whole, it's just too easy for breeders, right? It's so easy to produce animals right now. If any new morphs come out, you know, their prices are going to be at, you know, $400 from maybe $40,000 in a few years. Because what do they have to do? All they have to do is just time their odds right, set temperature on the incubator, and boom. The exact genetics they wanted to come out, and they at the exact sex as well. So things, you know, prices don't stay up there. And I know this is, you know, some people are going to say, you can't put a price on an animal's life. Yeah, you can't, I guess. But when we're looking at, this is, you know, the real world. This isn't the world of fantasy. If leopard geckos, unfortunately, get down too low, they are going to be used as feeders. And you have your big guys. I love Brian Barczyk and stuff like that. But you have these huge breeders that are mass-producing leopard geckos right now because they're so cheap to produce. And they're mass-producing them, shooting them out into the market as their price continues to fall. Once they get low enough, all these people out here that are keeping snakes to eat any sort of lizard, this is their feeder they're going to go to. These are no longer going to be really pets. The price just isn't like that. They're going to be like the price of a goldfish, in my opinion. Because of temperature sex determination, because of morphs in the market getting put down way too much, and because of overproduction. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. It's kind of a grim one, and it's something that, you know, is not great to think about, but it is the, you know, truth and reality. I don't want to see these guys become the goldfish of the reptile industry and world, but I mean, with all these things working against them, especially with the fact that most of their morphs are polygenic, not actual morphs, I just don't see these guys doing great in the future reptile market in the next, you know, few years. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys, you know, give a like to this video to go ahead and support these little guys. Cross your fingers this doesn't happen, but with how the trends have been going and with my predictions, I think it is something we're going to see in the next few years. If you guys like the channel, please subscribe, and you can go check out some other videos on how to care for leopard geckos. But hope you guys did enjoy this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.